Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Hill, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the issue of the ransom topic, I know that the Department of State and the U.S. government has been expressed displeasure in the past when Germany paid 5 million euros in Mali, and when France paid 25 million euros in Mali to Al-Qaeda. And then it was something that we've tried to enforce through all of our diplomatic channels and our leadership channels as the United States. And public reports say that Al-Qaeda's between 2008 and 2014 gotten about 125 million euros in paid ransom for tourists or captives that have been returned to their countries. So my concern is that no matter what it's called, you've got an appearance problem. And I think that is something that was poor judgment in the process of the negotiating effort. And secondly, to Chairman Royce's point, this issue of cash is really disturbing to me, and I think it is to anyone who's been a former Treasury official, as I have on my resume. You just don't provide cash to the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. And as Chairman Royce pointed out, the tribunal regulations permit it. And clearly, this was an Iranian request, and we acceded to it. And it was, in my view, not the right decision in the best interest of the American people, because we know what is done with cash in the hands of the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. And you also have testified today that it's, I think, Mr. Backmeyer, you commented on the state of the Iranian economy. And whether you're at the desk officer at the Assistant Secretary for International Economic Policy at State or over in OASIA, sure, people write estimates of the state of our friends and foes around the world, but with an $800 million approximately purchase price parroting GDP, taking the midpoint of the public number of what was freed up in the JCPOA of $100 billion, that's 20% of GDP. So if they want to help the Iranian people, maybe they can cut down on a $20 billion defense budget and not be looking to that as a reason in negotiations to be, kind-hearted in settling for a higher interest payment than you think perhaps they should have received. So I really think if we want the Iranians to have a better economy and take care of their, quote, domestic infrastructure needs, they ought to rearrange how they spend their money and not spend so much money threatening their neighbors, threatening the United States, threatening the people of Israel. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.